When I think of the Highlands, I think of Skye. While planning our summer sailing in Scotland, we both pictured sailing into a rugged anchorage on Skye and climbing a mountain straight from the boat. This week, it finally happened. Skye has everything I associate with the Highlands. Wild scenery, some of the best hiking in the world, and an anchorage that sounded too good to be true. We'd both been to the Highlands before, but always from the relative comfort and safety of land. While we were excited to sail Skye, as newbies to living aboard full-time, we were both worried that we'd finally bitten off more than we could chew. We've got away with some mistakes so far in our journey, but below the Cuillin Mountains with unpredictable weather and poor VHF signal is not a place for errors.
Heading up to Loch Scavaig, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, on the Isle of Skye. Touted as one of Europe's most beautiful anchorages, so pretty excited. It should be pretty cool. Hopefully the weather is good enough for us to stay there. Pretty sporting upwind sail, sort of 17 knots, just off the nose. We're doing 5.5 knots over ground, so yeah, pretty fun. Pretty standard Scottish summer day. Blue skies. Actually, I guess that part's pretty surprising.
Our original plan for Skye was to head to Portree and explore the island from there, but given the run of good weather we had, we changed our minds. We headed instead to Loch Scavaig, a loch on the southwestern side of Skye that our guidebook claimed was Europe's best and most dramatic anchorage. It's usually very exposed to the prevailing winds, but everything we'd read said that it was not an anchorage to be missed if the conditions were right. And by some miracle, given the summer we had in the UK last year, they were.
How you doing, Laura?
Yeah, wearing my second hat of the day because I lost my first one overboard. RIP hat number 1. Was feeling a bit seasick, but that's potentially my own fault for only having had like croissants today. So I had a pan au chocolat and then a cheese and ham croissant. Maybe it was not the best stomach lining.
The scenery just kept getting better the closer to Skye we got. The Black Cuillin Mountains dominate the skyline, famous for their dark colour and jagged shape. They provided an ominous background for the most remote anchorage we've been to so far.
We are absolutely rocketing in to this anchorage. Laura's feeling seasick. You doing okay, Laura?
I've
So,
been better.
you gonna vom on the edge?
I think so.
Alright. It should calm down soon.
So I had a sleep for about an hour and we're now in the lee of Ouyy and I'm feeling a lot better. Thankfully, no fish feeding for me today. Managed to have a couple of crisps. So yeah, feeling better seasickness wise. Not gonna lie, feeling a little bit intimidated about the anchorage that we've chosen to go into tonight. Looks a little bit like we are gonna go and anchor in Mordor or somewhere like very scary, doesn't it?
Destroy the ring, Frodo!
It looks terrifying. I'll flip the camera around and show you.
I've never seen an anchorage like this before. It's crazy. It's kind of hard to pay attention to the act of anchoring because it's just so stunningly beautiful. Oh, look, waterfall.
This face, watching all these seals over here. It's going to be terrible quality, but you can see all these little dots are all seals.
Aside from the jaw-dropping views at sea level, the main thing that drew us to Loch Scavaig was the possibility to climb a mountain straight from the boat. And the views from the top of this hike were promised to be the finest in Britain by the Walk Highlands website, which made us both incredibly keen to lace up our boots and head out. But in the back of my mind, I was wondering whether the hike would really live up to such a bold claim. And the views were pretty spectacular from where we were already, so would it really be worth climbing 500 metres up in the air?
If you want to do this mountain from land, it's a 25k walk, 20k of which is through the valley to get to it. So for us, it'll be a 5k walk.
Bye, Delfino.
Let's go. Family shot.
Family shot, yeah.
So I'm guessing that it's going to be that staircase over there.
So the staircase is for the tourist boats, and they said not to litter it, but other people seem to have put their dinghies nearby, so.
Yeah. Although is that a dinghy that's like on shore?
That looks like it's like upside down dinghy. Whoa, look at this waterfall!
Is the tide rising or falling?
I have absolutely no idea. This is definitely the most extreme dinghy docking we've had to do so far. If you come here, do not make the same mistake as us. Don't leave your dinghy anywhere near these stairs. When we got back, we found that one of the tourist boat skippers had thrown our dinghy onto the rocks, apparently because it had got in their way. Luckily, our hard dinghy was a bit scratched, but fine. If we had an inflatable, it would definitely have popped, so please land on the beach instead. We also had to lower our dinghy 2 metres down into the sea from the rocks while a boatload full of people watched. 0 out of 10, would not recommend. We certainly learned our lesson. And we're off.
We're off.
Ooh. Even that little stand was enough to get me attacked by midges.
It's a midge buffet.
There were more people than we expected around the base of the loch, all dropped off by the tour boats that used the stairs. But once we crossed the river, we had the place to ourselves.
The path is over there to cross, and then I would think that it goes somewhere along the hill there, and then up to the ridge over there. Oh yeah, Laura. Trust those rocks. More rocks incoming. I'm gonna go down this way. How you doing, Laura?
Good. Doing a quick tick check.
Tick check, yeah?
Sweaty, puffed.
Yeah, a couple 100 meters already.
Yeah.
Maybe 200. Bog cotton?
Yeah, you can tell we're getting wet now.
Yeah. Just like you turn around, it's easy to forget that you've got that behind you.
I know. And now we can see this bit of the Cuillins as well. But as we kept climbing, the views got better and better.
Lunch stop. That's the view. Let's go. You can see the path next to Laura, and it continues up onto that ridge over there. And we'll be able to see the boat, or we can see it from here actually. I'm sure it's not as bad.
Were you filming me going across the river or the crow?
The crow. Having fun?
Oh, it's hard going now.
Yeah, it's getting steep.
Yeah, it's getting steep and we're running out of path.
Looks like it goes up and to the right there, maybe?
Yeah.
Up into that?
To that and then probably does peter out.
Yeah.
We did run out of path, and finding our way to the top became even more of a challenge.
Wow! No, this was so worth it.
Okay, I'm glad you talked me out of my strop like 200 metres ago.
Yeah, how you feeling, Laura?
I did it! Oh, there were many times when I thought we weren't going to make it, but we did!
We're here. Well, not quite. Karen's over there.
It's hard to describe the feelings that we both had when we got to the top of the mountain. We were both exhausted from the climb and from the months of preparation and sailing to get to Skye in the first place. But being able to look out at the entire Cuillin Ridge with Delfino anchored below was mind-blowingly beautiful and made everything worth it. We were so proud of ourselves, not just for that day's physical effort, but for all the hard work that we'd put in to get us to this point.
That is just spectacular. Pork pie cheers. Mine's half eaten.
After almost an hour at the top admiring the view, it was time to head back down. It was hard to pay attention to our footing on the way down and not just stare at the landscapes in front of us.
Billy Goat Laura. Just trying to capture your athletics. We've just had a jaw-dropping couple of days here in Loch Scavaig, south coast of Skye. Last night was a bit of an adventure though, despite the forecast, as you can see here for last night, saying that there would be very little wind, 3 knots, gusting up to 9. Some kind of weird compression zone here was like forcing it to be 25 or 28. I was kind of, yeah, shitting myself, to be honest. And just like a lesson for myself when we came in, just when you're anchoring, put out more chain than you think you need. You know, it's doing no good in the locker. And Laura was definitely right, because she was pushing for more chain. I can see her nodding down there in agreement. But it's definitely time to leave. The wind's going to start filling in. All the forecasts agree that it should be kind of from the south, southeast. ECMWF saying that it'll be sort of 13, gusting 28, 29 later. And given my experience last night, it'll be a hell of a lot stronger in here. So despite the fact that it's stunning and calm and lovely, it is time to skedaddle on to the Isle of Canna. Well, I've loved this anchorage, but it's been terrifying, so it's time to leave. You have to look at this. I gotta show the GoPro.
Oh, I brought my camera. Oh my.
You've got to see this.
The guidebook did warn about bringing a load of kelp up with your anchor, but this is someone else.
How the fuck am I gonna get that off? This might take me a while.
After saying goodbye to the seals, it was time to head towards the Outer Hebrides. As we left Skye, there was no wind, the water was glassy and perfect for spotting all the wildlife in the area. But after our sleepless night, we were feeling a little bit defeated.
We've been a bit snappy with each other this morning.
We have, yeah. So, like, obviously didn't sleep too well last night.
Because it's so remote up here and because we're not seeing very many other people, it's a big adjustment coming from kind of lives that were more separate to being in a very small space doing something very challenging just with the two of us.
Yeah.
Throw in sleep deprivation and...
That's it.
Yeah.
We're totally self-reliant, and I think I was very aware of that last night, that,
That's another seal.
you know, okay, there's a couple other boats in the anchorage, but realistically, if something went wrong, it was just us, and that kept me up. And then when you're awake, when you're awake, you're not sleeping well, it's easy to get snappy, you know.
Oh my god, seal.
Ooh, it's right there. It's right there. Pause.
That is a big seal.
That is a big seal. Maybe that came out. The other thing that we've not really spoken about is the fact that we've been getting better at navigating the boat, maneuvering it, all of the skills required to bring the boat up to a relatively desolate, isolated place.
Yeah.
But the other thing that we've been doing is we've also been steadily increasing the intensity of what we've been doing. More remote, more difficult anchorages, hard to navigate locks, intense weather.
Yep.
Even the marinas are quite small and mostly dominated by the ferries. And so it doesn't feel at times like we're improving. Give me a hug.
Yeah.
So we made up, made some coffee, and waited for the wind to fill in enough to raise our sails.
Oh, my coffee! Oh, my coffee!
Yeah, that's a lesson to us to always put the sail bag on.
Or if we want to collect the water,
Yeah.
how far do I have to go?
Oh god.
How far do I have to go?
I can just use that brief now. Maybe another like meter.
Oh no, we're here. Oh no,
My legs are absolutely so.
To break up the journey, we decided to stay overnight in Canna, one of the small isles. Apparently very beautiful, although where around here isn't, and apparently home to some puffins. All sounds great, except for one thing. The harbour is full of our new nemesis, mooring balls. If you've never sailed before and were wondering what on earth we were talking about in last week's episode, this time we actually filmed the mooring ball drama for you. Mooring balls are big buoys that are attached to large concrete blocks on the seabed, which you tie onto instead of anchoring in some bays. They either have a loop from the top of them that you tie onto your boat directly, or a big ring that you need to pass your own ropes through. Today's buoys are the apparently easier kind with the big loop on them.
3 meters, starboard, going for it, reverse. I've had to drop it.
So what happened? I came in a bit too fast. Stu couldn't get the rope in the right position, and when I reversed, the prop walk, which is where the stern of the boat kicks in one direction when you go in reverse because of the interaction between the flowing water and the shape of the boat's hull, took the stern to port, pivoted the bow to starboard, too far away from the buoy, and Stu had to drop it. This time I came in too slowly, didn't get the approach at the right angle, and the wind blew the boat away from the buoy. Finally, we got there in the end, and vowed to avoid any mooring balls for the next few weeks.